Hi there, welcome to Floating in Books. This video is going to be about my top 10 favorite books that I would like to get to this summer. Not sure if it's going to work out, but some of these books have been on this list before, and part of me wants to get to them super quickly, and others not, but I have also selected some other books that I don't think I have shown in like a summer reads video before. So let me just get to it. So first things first, the first section is actually 3 books that are part of ongoing series that I like to catch up on. And for some reason, I always read these in the summertime. I don't know why. My favorite summertime read is the Jim Butcher Dresden Files series. In case you're unfamiliar with these, we follow a wizard named Harry Dresden. He lives in Chicago. He sort of has to do a lot with politics, both in his wizarding world, as well as the demi-monde of like vampires and all of the supernatural things that are happening. It is an urban fantasy series that the first couple, I have to say, aren't that good, but the more I read of this series, the better it gets. And I think there are like 16 or 17 books in this series. It's one of the longest running fantasy series that is currently on the market today. And Blood Rites, I believe, is the next one that I still need to read. And I tend to read one of these once a year. I did read one previously this spring, because I don't think I read one last year, so I had some catching up to do. But this summer, I will probably read these. These are really quick and easy. You can read them in a day kind of books. Nothing too serious. This is my version of like a romance novel. I know a lot of people read romance in the summertime. I don't happen to love a lot of romance. I'm sort of eyeing up Beach Read by Emily Henry though, because I've heard so many people raving about it. But I also know that a lot of that is just the hype that I want to just try and see if I like it, but I don't think it's actually going to be for me. As I mentioned, I'm not much of a romance novel reader, but something quick-paced, urban fantasy-like is where it's at for me. In a similar vein, I think every year I also read some Genevieve Cogman. I still need 2 books in her Invisible Library series that I haven't read yet, so it's definitely on my list this year to try and finish it, because I've read all the other ones, and I think the Dark Archive I also put on my like wish list of the 24 books I would like to get to in 2024. So this is definitely one I need to get to ASAP. This is another really great fast-paced fantasy series that centers around Irene. She is a librarian who works for the Invisible Library, which is a invisible sort of faction in this world that tries to keep the world together. So there are worlds that are almost at the brink of falling into chaos, and there are worlds that are overly structured and organized, and different political factions within this world tend to rule either world. So we get a lot of alternate universes in this. We get a little bit of a will they, won't they kind of romance story. We also get a nod to Sherlock Holmes, which I always enjoy. And every single book seems to be centered in a different sort of historical setting, and she needs to find books, solve mysteries, and at the same time battle enemies, and yeah. Also, there's a lot of bureaucracy involved as well, so she has to make do with her supervisor, so there's a lot going on in these little ones. They're not like super duper fascinatingly cool or anything, but they're quick, easy reads, and I don't hear enough people talking about this series, so the next book in the Invisible Library series is definitely on the wish list for summer. And a new series that I've added into the mix is this one. This is by Benedict, Jacka. This is the Alex Veras fantasy series. This is another urban fantasy. This is very much inspired, I feel, by the Harry Dresden Files series by Jim Butcher. But this is set in London, and this is about a wizard who owns a magic shop. And he, again, in the first book, gets very much involved into like the politics of his world. I believe the first book also references Harry Dresden as like one of the wizards in Chicago that exists in the world. And the second book in the series is called Curse, and that's one I haven't read yet. So this is another one that's very high on the list to be reading this summer. I definitely want to focus on like quick, easy reads that are somewhere between like 300 and 400 pages, because I have been reading quite a few bulky reads in the past couple of months. So I finished Jade Legacy, which was like over 700 pages. I finished Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield, which was over 500, and I'm currently in the midst of Silver Under Nightfall by Rinchu Pecco, which is also just over 500 pages. So I've been reading quite a lot of tomes, and I just want to get into these like floppy paperback sort of skinny things, just to get my reading goal, like to catch up with my reading goal a little bit as well, because these I can like read in like either a single sitting if I have vacation, or like on a weekend. If I have I have Fridays off, so if I read in the afternoon, I read on Saturday afternoon, I read on Sunday, I can read like 100 pages every day and I can finish a book. And that usually works for me quite well. So these are quick and easy reads that I hope, like I know I'll enjoy these. So these are easy breezy reads for the summertime. And two books that I've selected because I hope they're gonna sort of work for me in a similar vein are two stories that I think both of them are actually set in New Orleans. Yes, both of them are set in New Orleans. This one is set in an alternate New Orleans where music sort of is interlaced with magic, and New Orleans is losing its magic, therefore its music, which is of course detrimental. So this is the Ballad of Perilous Graves by Alex Jennings. Haven't heard much about it. I just picked it up on a whim. Sounded cool. But I hope it can give me like a similar thing as the other books I've just mentioned. This one is more historical fiction, I believe. At least that's how I had it categorized. This is the Axeman's Jazz by Ray Celestin. And this is sort of like historical fiction, but detective at the same time. So I think I picked this up when I really got into the Freya McGray series by Oscar de Muriel, but that one has since finished, and I have also finished reading that. So maybe I need to get stuck into that. I don't know if this is actually a series or if it's the only one. I think this is the only one I've ever seen by this author at my local bookstore. But I can't wait to stuck into some New Orleans sort of detective-ish, fantasy-ish kind of stories as well. I think these will be nice follow-ups for me. This is big though. Yeah, this is over 400 pages. Oh well. Now, a book that I know has been on this list before is this chunky guy. This is Susanna Clarke's Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I read Susanna Clarke's Piranesi this year and I enjoyed it, but this I think is like her Magnus Opus. And this I think is a tie-in with a BBC drama that they did a couple of years ago. And this is big. Like, this is over 900 pages. But my reasoning was, if I pack just one book on my 10-day trip, I'm going to be traveling by train through Europe this summer, and I packed just this one book, maybe I can then actually get to it and I don't have to take anything else. It is chunky though, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out because I don't want to carry too much. However, on a 10-day trip, I can easily go through 3 to 4 books if I end up reading quite a bit, because I will be in a train like every 2 days or so. So I'm gonna have a lot of time to read while I'm traveling as well. And usually trains is like my comfort reading space, especially. I definitely picked up my reading habit again when I was having a pretty long commute for work. So reading on trains is something I love doing. And I was like, if I do it this way, I can read like 100 pages every single day and I'll be done with it. Apparently it's really good. I believe it's like historical fiction, but there's also magic involved. It's sort of like magical realism. And like I said, there is a TV series for this as well. Yeah, this is one that I would like to try. I know I featured this before, but because it is so big, I never get round to it because it is scaring me a little bit. Like, let me see how many pages there actually are. Ooh, there are pictures, I now see. There are pictures involved. Yeah, it's even over 1,000. Oh, it's 1,006 pages. 1,006 pages. So, yeah, so maybe I'm gonna take this as like my one and only read on my summer trip. That could be a thing, but I'm not sure. I'm scared of this one at the same time. What would you guys do? Because I need encouragement to actually get stuck into this. A book I quite recently picked up is Rebecca Mackay's I Have Some Questions for You. I believe this is just a detective novel, and a friend of mine already read it and said it was pretty vapid. It wasn't that interesting. But I like to read these like easy breezy reads over the summertime, as I mentioned. So this can again be my version of like a romance read for some other people that they take with them to the beach. This could be my version of that. It is, I think, not that chunky. It has just over 300 pages, close to 400 actually. But I think this will be one that I can get through really quickly. So again, really nice, sort of easy, taking my mind off of things kind of read. That's all I want for the summer really. So this one I can definitely get down with. Summer is also usually the time where I start a new series that I want to get into, and I have been meaning to read The Poppy War for the longest time possible, but because I was reading the Jade War Greenbone saga by Fonda Lee, I was like, oh, I can't read two Asian-inspired fantasy series at the same time. I don't think my brain will cope. So that's why I'm going to, at some point this summer, get started on the first book in the Poppy War trilogy. I have all 3 books sitting on a shelf, and it's like prime real estate. You can't really see, but this shelf right here, this one, that's the one that's like right at eye level, and that's where I keep the series that I want to finish like most, and the Poppy War is definitely top of that list. So that's why this one, Poppy War by Arv Kwong, I definitely just need to get to it. This has been on my wish list to read for years. And to keep the like, I just want to read something easy breezy, something I don't need to think about much. I bought this and I just didn't read it yet. This was, of course, a hype last year. This is Rebecca Yarros' Fourth Wing. I think that if I'm going to read this and enjoy it, it's going to be the summertime. This is going to be I'm going to read this at home kind of book because it's quite big, quite bulky. It does have close to 500 pages, but there's also a lot, like, the spacing is very generous. So even though this may be like 500 pages, something like Jonathan, what are they called? Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell being 1,000 pages, but those are like teensy tiny letters, so it's going to take a while to get through that. This I think I can breeze through really quickly. And finally, I just gifted this book to a friend's daughter who had her birthday, and she's going to be studying biology now that she's finished high school. So I was like, this is biology but about fairies, and she thought she might enjoy it, but maybe I should read it as well to figure out what I actually gifted her. This is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. It's about a girl who categorizes fairies. That's all I know. That's why I wanted to read it. She travels to a northern area where there's a lot of fairies around, and she's really good interacting with the fairies, less so with the human beings in the town where she's staying. That's all I know, but again, for the summertime, I think it can be a really cute read, and I love that red foiling that the cover has. So Heather Fawcett's Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, again, not too big. Like, it is a big-sized book, but again, very spacious margins. So it is just over 300 pages. So I think, again, a nice, quick, and easy read to see me through the summertime. In the summertime, I don't want to read too many complicated things. I just want to read things to get my mind off of things, because it is the summertime and I'll have summer break, and I don't really need to invest all that much time into thinking about life, really. So yeah, these are definitely going to be my picks for reading in the summertime. These are the things I want to prioritize. I make these lists, and then if I look back on what I've actually read in spring, because I have also done a video like this about spring, and I've definitely read like 1 or 2 books of the list, but I definitely didn't stick to it all that much. I just want to inspire you to read and to see what's on your shelves, so that we read what we actually own and we don't feel the need to fall for the hype and buy new things constantly. I just went on a message rampage buying loads of books in May, so I'm set when it comes to new releases. I really just need to get to reading those, and these are 10 books that I would definitely want to prioritize in the next couple of months. Let me know what books you would like to prioritize this summer season. I would love to know. Maybe I can take some inspiration from your suggestions as well. And yeah, for now, thank you so very much for joining me here today. On this channel, I film videos once a week and post them, but on my main channel, I post 4 times a week, but you do have to enjoy a bit of makeup related content for that. So yeah, I hope to see you in one of those spaces, and then I hope you would like to stay tuned for more, and then I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.